But first, last night I had a willing exchange with my colleague Andrew Clennell over whether female voters needed to be wooed with special policies in order to vote for the coalition. Now, it was prompted by polling that showed Peter Dutton is doing considerably better, on average, with male than female voters.
If Peter Dutton wants to win, one thing he can do is a couple of women-friendly policies.
What's a women's friendly policy? Do you think we don't care about the economy? We don't care about defence?
I'm not a woman, but I'm saying
if
he went for that constituency, if he did a couple of things in that area, and I remember Gladys Berejiklian did that sort of thing in the 2019 campaign.
Funny, no one seems to suggest the PM needs special male policies to win over men, but we women can be thrown a few rhetorical policy trinkets and that buys our vote. Or that other furphy that women vote for only women candidates just because they're women. As I said to Andrew last night, that's offensive. Just like men, we vote with our heads and our hearts, not our genitals. We don't all think alike just because of our gender. And a new childcare policy or something like free tampons in schools hardly likely by itself to get our vote. Nor should it. How relevant is any of that to a pensioner on a fixed income worried about her power bill? As women, we are just as focused on the economy and national security as male voters are, especially when you consider it's often women who juggle the bills each week and at this time of year wonder how they're going to pay off the Christmas credit card bill at the same time as afford new school shoes for the kids. Now, one of the features of Sky News is that we aren't all intellectual clones. We put a lot of differing views to air, and that's a good thing. Now, as is obvious by the fact he's a regular on my show, I've got a lot of time for Andrew's analysis. But when I don't agree, you'll know about it. And on this network, we can have a civil disagreement, and that's a good thing. So this nonsense that women all vote or even largely vote on so-called women's issues is not only wrong, but it demeans women. It suggests that there's a silver bullet out there, a suite of women's policies, if you like, that if you get them right, you print them off, you whack a pink cover on the front, then you'll win the female vote. And with that, the election. Now, there's not, and you won't. It also suggests that there's women's issues and women's policies over here, and that everything else that's not in that domain, by default, is the domain of men. So family and household equals women, and all the really big stuff, well, that equals men. Now again, dead wrong. Why should women be more interested in childcare policy, for instance, than economic policies, superannuation, foreign policy, all of that, given that these issues affect women no less than men? And conversely, given shared parenting today, why wouldn't a man with young kids be interested in childcare? As we saw in the recent US election, the concept of gender voting splits is far less relevant today than generational voting splits. Despite all the supposed pro-women campaigning from the Democrats, and remember, abortion, it was front and centre in the debate. No greater issue, we're told, that drives the female vote. Well, it didn't. Trump picked up a larger proportion of voters under 30 than any Republican presidential candidate since 2008, according to NBC News exit polling, improving with both young men and young women. But back to Peter Dutton, as I said last night, women's policies are not a game changer on the centre right, in my view. But where gender is relevant, it's how you communicate with women that matters. And that's where Dutton can improve. Broadly speaking, women want to see the humanity in our candidates. They often want to feel like they've got to know them a little better. And especially with male candidates, they like to see them with other people in their lives. So if it's a bloke, they want to see their partner and any children they might have. Now, I saw that firsthand very much with Tony Abbott. Margie, his sister, his mum, his daughters in particular. It wasn't so-called women's policies that won Abbott a greater share of the female vote than Malcolm Turnbull. Yes, that's right, the bloke who was supposedly popular with women against a bloke who supposedly wasn't. It was getting a handle on who he was as a person, his humanity, his strength as a leader, that made the difference. What's as important in any discussion about the female vote and the coalition is the reverse for Labor. If Dutton's doing well with men, then why is Albanese doing so poorly? As I said, no one's asking Labor, where's your men's policies, are they? But if we women are supposed to vote based on women's policies and not values or ideology, well, why not men? See why this sort of old-style campaign thinking needs to be shaken up? The electorate's complex now. It's more volatile, more splintered than ever before in terms of how people consume their information than at any other time in our history. It's why it's so hard to poll electorates these days, so hard to get campaign messages out there, and why our elections can be so unpredictable. Bottom line, this election will be one for the ages. And here at Sky, you'll get all sides of the debate. You'll get healthy debate, even civil disagreement. And isn't that what we need more of, not less?